Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of BlackStream Live presents Meet the Execs. I'm your host, Brandon Pankey, and we're excited to be here for the second episode powered by Windows and Intel Evo, working together, creating devices that are made to inspire. I have my Intel Evo right here, ready to get going. Super excited to be here. I want to make sure we see you guys in the chat. It's going to be an incredible conversation today. I'm really excited about our guest. She is the CEO and founder of Mogul Mentality. She is the vice president of A&R for Warner Brothers Records. I am beyond ecstatic to introduce everyone to Malita Rice. Malita, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for being a part of Meet the Execs this week. Super excited to have you. And what we do with all of our guests, we like to kick off, just really starting with your journey. Where did it begin? When did you know you wanted to be in the music industry, and how did you progress to where you are today?
So I actually moved to Atlanta to attend Clark Atlanta University. I wanted to be an FBI at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was going to school for criminal justice and sociology, and I met Sonny Digital, who was a producer. He had Rex on Rex out at the time. Mm-hmm. And then also my friend from Baltimore, where I'm originally from, she moved here and she was the DJ. So I would move like Sunny around. I would move her around, getting them gigs randomly, a natural thing, because I knew a lot of the DJs in Atlanta. And then Metro Boomin came around us as well. So then we just kind of formed Sunny's label, which was Forbes Atlanta. And then we broke the artist Q, who did Bobby Johnson. It's an old record from like 2013, 12.
Yep.
And it kind of went from there, and everything was organic.
No, that's great. I want to backtrack for a minute. So you're from Baltimore?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's why you wanted to be in the FBI. I'm just trying to figure some stuff out about you before you start researching.
I'm obsessed with like law and order, crime, psychopaths, drugs. Like I'm obsessed with all that. So I literally watch that all day on TV.
Okay, and then you wanted to get into the music industry after being involved in all that. Got it. Okay.
No, people told me I should be. They told me I should get into the music business because what I was doing, like they was like, you should be a manager. I was like, I don't know how to be a manager. They were like, that's what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And then kind of kept going from there.
Got it. So let's talk about that pivot from management to being an A&R. Like, how did you make that transition from working with artists directly to working for a label in an A&R position?
Well, one, it's the same thing. So I manage a collective of 10 producers. So including OG Parker, Young, like the list goes on. It's a lot of them. I don't want to miss anybody, so I won't say names. But but it's easy because that's what you're doing with your producers all day. Like you're putting them in sessions with these different artists. You're reaching out to managers. You're reaching out to A&Rs. You're sending out records that you think will fit the artist. You're looking at new artists so you can get the first hit on the artist. You're doing that all day. So it's kind of like, why not be an A&R? But that's what you're doing. All right.
So no, for sure. So for those that are listening in, they really want to know what the music industry is. What exactly is an A&R? What does an A&R do?
So there's different types of A&R. So one, A&R finds new talent. Even if they're developing, even if they have a hit on TikTok at the time, the goal is to find new talent and make them a star. And then also, putting together records. Some new artists, they don't really like taking records because, of course, if they blew up on TikTok, they're like, "Oh, I already know what to do. You know how that goes." So, it's like with that, you're just putting them in sessions, like helping them create a bigger sound with bigger producers, or a producer or songwriter that may fit, or a top liner that may fit what they're trying to accomplish, to elevate them. And then some A&Rs are just dot connectors. Like, we can make the calls to who you need to get in contact with, for features, for even, like I said, for bigger sessions or whatever the case may be, just to move the artists around to get them those looks. So there's different types, I would say.
Got it.
And then you have research A&R too now.
Yeah, for sure. Not for sure. And what is that? Yeah. Explain that for us.
So they look at the growth of artists, whether they're going up on social media or like a TikTok or DSPs, which is digital streaming platforms. They look at the growth and they say, okay, well, people are interacting with these people. People are looking at this person like we need to sign them.
Got it. Got it. So let me ask. I mean, you talked about how some artists are on TikTok and they may have, you know, 1 million followers, or, you know, they're on YouTube already and they're like, I'm already a star. In this world, in this new music industry as an A&R, are you already looking at artists that may already have a following? Or, you know, when I think about the 60s and 70s and really that artist development, like finding an artist off the street who may not have any followers, who may not know anybody, but has a unique sound. Like, what is an A&R doing today? The super new artists or artists that are established? Okay.
It's both. I would say like I'm interested in artist development. Like I love it. Like I love just creating a sound with an artist and just making great music because I'm an R&B head at that. So it's just that takes time. Everybody knows it takes time. And then sometimes you are going to get the artists with the numbers because it's easier to move them. It's kind of hard these days to create a fan base, especially when artists aren't as interactive. But then you meet an interactive artist that's like, how did you do this? So it's like, why not put a hit on them? And then it grows and it's like, oh, now we have a mega star. Like Cardi. Look at Cardi B.
Yep. But can you argue that Cardi, it wasn't until after she was on Love and Hip Hop and she had this major exposure that she became a star? Like, would she have become a star if she wasn't? Okay.
Yes. She was already a star because we were already watching her. Like she was already funny.
Got it.
So she was already like going viral and stuff like that. That's what got her to Love and Hip Hop. And then that's when she, you know, did her record. And I think a lot of it was her style too. Once she changed her style, when she got with her stylist, like it made her even bigger.
Got it. And do you and just for those that are listening, the A&R for Cardi's songs, I mean, was super important and critical because we wouldn't have had a Bodak Yellow if her A&R wasn't helping her. Correct?
I don't know about Bodak Yellow. I can't speak on that because I seen a video and I don't even think an A&R was there. I just seen her rapping like a studio.
Okay. So I'm just trying to. I guess my question would be like, how critical is the A&R for an artist for the song selection process? You know, do you need one, or is the artist like, look, I have my team? I'm sorry.
Well, yes, I think it's critical because one, especially the people who create hits, right? Like you never know what they may bring you, you know, and you may even like, you may get writer's block. You know what I'm saying? Like you may get closed minded and shelled off. And it's like, wait, I got an idea for you. Like, here's this, here's that. And even just us making sure your paperwork is straight and making sure your samples are cleared, you know, doing things like that, like so you don't get sued or we don't get sued. I think a lot of people don't respect A&Rs anymore. And I think that's a problem because that's why the music isn't growing. A lot of these artists, they come out with one hit and it's over with. And it's just like, usually, you know, back in the day when artists can come out with a whole project and everyone listens straight through and loves it, that's kind of like depleting now.
No, I agree. I agree with you. So let's go back. In your position, how has your role changed, or what were the differences in your role, let's say 2020 during the like really when we were deep in the pandemic versus coming out of it now? Did you have to tweak how you did your job, or was it this business as usual?
Well, I just came on to Warner in March and I've had my company for 7 years, Mogul Mentality. So management wise, we were on a roll. Like we had so many placements because so many artists were creating music. Like that's all they were doing. They were in the house. Like they got their at-home studios together and all they wanted to do was like send beats. I need ideas. I need this. I need that. So now you see all these albums coming out this year, all these singles, all these TikTok viral moments. Like these were all done like last year.
Got you. So let's go into that, right? How many artists do you manage for Mogul Mentality?
I manage producers. I manage, I think 10 or 12.
10 or 12 producers. Okay. And how did you said you started Warner? You said you started Warner in March. How do you balance the label position with the manager position? Like I have one artist that I manage on top of everything else that I do, and that's already a struggle. So how are you managing 10 to 12 producers while doing this new job?
It's actually easy. I think it helped me get the job because people want to work
Okay.
with the people I have. So
Mm.
we're consistently putting out singles like every week. Like we just had Megan's new single. We just had Wale's new single. We just had Young Blue's new single. We just had Kivo Money who signed Atlantic's new single. Like we've put out singles every week. So who wouldn't want to work with the person who's putting out all these singles on all these big
Nah,
artists?
nah, great point. What does
So
it
it goes hand
mean?
in hand.
Not for sure. No, for sure. It makes sense. It makes sense. You have basically you have the product and people are going to, buy what you have. I mean, it makes perfect sense. So,
Yeah.
let me ask a question. What does it mean to have a mogul mentality?
That's a good question. Nobody ever asked me that before.
Mm-hmm.
To have a mogul mentality, I just feel like it means that you could do any and everything. Whether I don't believe you can do everything at once. You know what I'm saying? You can end up accomplishing everything at once, but you can't do it all at once. They can like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this all in the same day. But it's just more so
Yeah.
about saying, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it,
Mm.
and I'm not gonna box
Mm.
myself in.
Got you. Did you find it difficult being a Black woman in this music industry, owning having your own management company? Was it more difficult to navigate, or did you not have any issues?
Oh, I had a lot of issues. I
Mm.
had a lot of issues, but luckily, let me say like maybe around a year or two ago, it's changing. Like the industry is changing. They're embracing women of all races, especially Black women. I feel like it's a big change, and that's why I embrace young Black women. Like I try to sit down with them. If they want to sit down with me after a panel, if they want to reach out to me, I make sure like I sit down with them so they can understand like you can do it. So a lot of my
Yeah.
like even when I want to give up, I'm like, okay, this is not about me. This is for another Black girl who wants to get in this position. So I have to stick it out.
Nah, for sure. So why is mentorship so important?
See, it's funny because I didn't have mentors when I first came
Mm.
in. So now, I talk to the OGs and stuff like that, and they embrace me, and I embrace them. I think that's a healthy balance too. You embrace the younger people. You embrace the younger people, you embrace the older people, you embrace the people at your level, and that way, like at the end of the day, like you're balanced, and it's necessary so you can learn. Like I have a manager under my company, Kaylin, who's my assistant. Well, she was my assistant, and now she's going to
Okay.
be an A&R at a major label.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and I've had her since she was 17. She's
Really?
22. Mm.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And she's an
Yeah,
A&R at
so
22.
that's what I was like. You don't even know. Yeah. So I want to do it again. Like I want to keep doing that. I want to keep developing the new execs, the new young execs, because they can come to us and tell us, hey, like this is a new popping artist, or hey, we need to be looking at this, or we need to be doing this, and this is lame, or whatever we need from them, and they'll give us that guidance. Like they can guide us too. And I
Yeah.
always look at
No,
like Andre
absolutely.
Harrell and a Diddy, right? Diddy used to work for Andre Harrell, and then Andre Harrell went and worked for Diddy. You just never know. So you just embrace everybody.
Yep, it's got to come full circle. I agree with you 1,000% on that. I think mentorship in the music industry or any industry is super critical and
Mm-hmm.
super important, particularly for marginalized groups. And we need to continue to put more people on. So I'm with you 1,000,000% on that.
And
Absolutely
don't hold
agree.
them up under
So
you. Like let them grow. Let them grow.
yeah, that's another problem. Sometimes I notice people like to stay in one position and they'll let you get like right here, but they don't want
And
you
they're
to
like, oh,
surpass them.
mm-hmm.
Right. Right. And we gotta get past that. We have to get
We
past it.
do.
I agree with you.
We
And
do.
I really do agree with that. So I'm a new artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm popping, I don't know, fill in the blanks in Philly. I'm based in Philly. I'm in Philly. How do
Right.
I get to a Malita Rice to make sure that I get signed? Like, what do I have to do? What are those steps that I
To
need
make
to
sure
take
you
as an
get
artist?
signed.
Yeah.
One, I would say put out content. Use what's hot. Of course, everything isn't going to work for everybody's not going to be a TikTok artist. But then you'll be surprised,
Hmm.
like how Giveon went off on TikTok, and he's R&B.
Right.
So it's
Right.
just like use the tools that you have already to get noticed. Like you already have you have a TuneCore, you have a DistroKid, to even upload your music, like SoundCloud. You have a TikTok, a Instagram, whatever, like Facebook, like everything goes viral. Like even collab with people in your city. Like even if you want to create music, like okay, who's the new beat makers or whatever in my city that I can collab with and create my own sound with them. Look at Jetson and the Baby.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So
but what if but things are clicky, right? I feel like there are some cities where I may want to collab with an artist or collab with a producer, and they're like, well, I don't really know you. Like, what's that entry point, right? Like, it's just developing relationships, and how do I develop those relationships as an artist? And I'm really asking because I know there are people in the chat wanting to know this.
Well, it depends, because it depends on the personality of the artist or the producer. Like, I know even with like new producers coming up, like Parker would accept loops from them, and Lane and all of them, like Romano, all of them would accept loops from different producers. And then these smaller producers end up getting placements, like huge placements off of just sending. And then even with producers, like, okay, well, if I'm a new artist, I'm going to send you my music. Like, can you check this out? Even if you don't listen to it, I'm going to find a way for you to listen to it, or get to somebody, or whatever the case may be, or catch you at a good time. Just say, hey, or even just saving up and saying, look, like I have this amount of money. This is what I can do. Like, hopefully you believe in me enough to, create with me.
Yep.
Because we never know who's going to be the next artist.
I want to backtrack for a little bit, because again, this is, this is an educational piece as well. What is TuneCore? What is DistroKid? What are these, you're saying put out content. What are these things that you're referring to?
So as far as putting out content, it's more so like you can create your videos. Like we have, what are these cameras on these phones now? Like, what are they? Like cameras we have, like you can shoot videos on here. There's different sites where you can make graphics. If you can't afford graphics, like you can use Canva to create your cover art. Like you could, there's so many different ways and different things to do, like even if you don't have the money. And I feel like people make excuses because they want to go in with a big producer or a big artist instantly. And it's like, no, like use your resources to get to where you got to go. So if I go on if you tell me you're an artist, right? And I go on your page, I'm like, well, where's your music? Like I see you twerking, I see you with your friends. Like, where's the music at? Like, and that's happened to me. Like this girl was like, oh, I'm an artist. And so I went on her page. I didn't see any music.
Wow.
And you never know who's paying attention.
Right. I agree.
So
I agree.
Of course, TuneCore and DistroKid, are platforms where you can upload your music to get them on the Spotify's and Apple Music. Well, all DSPs, Tidal, etc., Pandora, and then now everybody is accessible. Everybody has social media, so you can just reach out to somebody. You never know. You just never ever know. Just always be prepared.
Yeah, and what's interesting, right? So when you were talking about content, like it has to be content. Maybe even 10 years ago, when we say release content, it's literally just music. Like make sure you have new music out, a new single. But content in 2021 means, to your point, create the music video on your own. Maybe there's other short pieces of film content that you have, just, talking about your journey or just doing different things as an artist. Or we just have behind the scenes footage of you. Like it has to be a real holistic plan or campaign now for you to be recognized as an artist. And I think that's super significant, when you're trying to build your fan base.
Right. And now you can even go create a 15-second TikTok video and it may go viral. It may go viral, or Triller. It may go viral, or you just singing in your room. Look at LMA.
Yep.
She was singing covers.
No. Great point.
But people aren't consistent. You can't go spend $500 on Balenciaga and don't want to spend $500 on a microphone to record your music.
Talk about it. See, you're getting somewhere else, and I don't want to get into the economics of it all. We'll have a completely different conversation. It has nothing to do with music, and this isn't what this interview is about. But I hear you. I'm listening. So let me ask you something else, right? And just walk us through, because I love the journey of it all, right? And so it's you have 10 to 12 producers, some of the hottest producers in the game. What's that sort of album creation process like? Like if I'm in the studio with one of your producers, like talk about the creative energy there. Like what's that process? Do I have to come in ready with a song already? Have you given me the beat, or are we creating in the studio?
It just depends on the artist and it depends on the producer. Sometimes, like, I've worked with artists where they just want to be in the studio by themselves and they just want me to send them beats. I've worked with artists where it's like, okay, I need a songwriter, I need a producer, I need a guitar player, I need all these different things. So it just depends. It's never like a set thing with any artist because everybody is different. They're still people at the end of the day, so no one's going to do it one specific way. But when it comes to executive producing a project, even if the producer is getting like other beats from other producers, they're still going to make it into one, make it whole when putting these projects together.
Got you. So dealing with that many producers, I'm assuming there are artists that need music and they're creating content. How do you decide which producer should make a track for a particular artist? And are there any egos involved? Like you managing those egos? Like, I just want to talk about that process as well, being the manager for all these producers, because I'm sure that's a headache at times.
Yeah, I mean, even when I manage artists, there's egos and everything. I think, especially when you're a woman, right? They hone into you, like you're like their mom. And I'm bossy, so I'm really like, they come to me for everything. But there's definitely going to be like, I know who's good at what. Like, I know to send like SK, that's one of my producers, for R&B session. Like, he does stuff for Trey Songz, Jacquees, or whatever. I know to send Landon Kilo for trap and Romano. But Romano and like Parker, they could do like both. Like they're really good at both. So it just depends on, like, Zerius, like, I know he's very soulful on the guitar, but I'm like, okay, if I need you to do this, if I need like a trap guitar, I can send Felipe. Like, it's just, you just know their sound, especially like if your goal is to get a single, it's like, okay, I know who to send. So for which, genre.
No, for sure. Are you jumping into, or do you find that some of the producers that you work with want to jump into like film, TV, streaming supervision as well? Because that's something that, we're talking about the singles and the music, but I just feel like there's such a lane there that I'm starting to see, more of our producers jump into.
Yeah, like scoring, like film scoring and things like that. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Now that there are a lot of, Black directors, now we have these opportunities to do that. So you have the Lena Waves and the Isas. Now we have, the Black music supervisors who can come in like, okay. And they're also helping getting people on. Like, they're breaking artists doing this.
Yep, for sure. For sure. So where do you see yourself, let's call it 5 years from now? Is it still in the management and A&R world, or is it beyond that? Where do you see Malita Rice?
I'm already beyond that.
Talk about it.
But no, I'm getting into publishing because, being a manager is one stream of income, but also publishing is longevity for you. So, and I've learned that, like, a lot of people instilled that into me for the past couple of years. So now I'm definitely getting into publishing. And then also, I own real estate, and I do Airbnbs and things like that. So I don't know. Of course, I don't want to be a VP in 5 years. I'd rather be like head of A&R or even a chairman.
Yep.
So we'll see. We will see what happens.
Yeah, no, for sure. You touched on two things and I think are relevant. I'm going to start with the first. What is music publishing? You said that gives you longevity. That is steady income. What is music publishing and why is that so important?
I mean, music publishing is owning a piece of the record. You're owning a piece of the copyright. And that way, say for instance, what was a song that recently went viral? Let me think. Well, let's say the uses of a song, right? Like Twerkulator. No, let's do WAP.
Okay.
Franksky produced WAP back in the day. And it wasn't WAP. It was, what was the song? What was the song it was back in the day?
What you talking about?
I forgot the song. The sample that WAP.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm talking about, the sample that was used. But that's a Franksky sample from like years ago. He's actually, that song was actually made in Baltimore too, by the way. If I'm not mistaken. And so that sample, I think he took maybe 50% or more. So those royalties, like he's getting a percentage of a song that came out 20 years from when he actually put it out. He's getting a piece of that. So it's a whole new check that you're getting of this big song that you put out 20 years ago. Who doesn't want that?
And everybody wants that. And just for everyone that's listening, these checks that Melita's talking about, they come quarterly. You know what I mean? You will get multiple checks throughout the year based on, these royalties that you're receiving. So that's why music publishing is so critical, because, it's just a stream of income that, depending on how hot a song is or how hot an album is, you can have in perpetuity or have for a lot of multiple years.
And it may not be hot right now. It could be hot.
Yep.
It could be hot when you pass away.
Yep.
We don't know. Because things are coming back and viral or getting in syncs and on commercials, and you just never know.
Yep. And that's the other piece I think you just touched on. I want to touch on that too. In syncs or in commercials, there could be a #1 box office movie, and that song is in that movie. And as long as that movie is hot, you're going to still be making money off of that song. That's why it's important, when you hear about artists saying they don't own their publishing, it's critical to have some sort of ownership of publishing. That's what Melita's talking about, and why publishing is
and now there's so many resources for you to look this up and find out before you want to sign any contract, whether it's with a label or a publisher. Look over everything, even if it's a contract. Like, get an attorney, a good one. It's very important, because now it's like no excuses for why you're signing a bad contract. Too much information.
Exactly.
Out there.
No, I agree. And I want you to touch on just, you talked about the publishing piece, but then you also talked about real estate. Being in the music industry, why is it so important to have multiple streams of income outside of just your management commission?
I think being in being in any industry, you should have multiple streams of income. Because one, you just never know. Like, look what happened last year. A lot of people did not know how they were going to live. Like, they had no clue. So being prepared for that, and also creating generational wealth, is very important. And a lot of people, like I said, like, you'll spend $20,000 on a chain when you could have spent $20,000 on a property, and of course, and you could have flipped that property into $100,000.
Yep.
Or you could have given it to your kids.
Yeah, no, or you could have given it to your kids. And I think, having a Malita Rice as a manager, I think is super critical and super important, because I'm assuming, and just based on our conversation, you're telling your producers, hey, guys, get this next publishing advance, or you get this next advance for this track, make sure you invest your money elsewhere. You know what I mean? That's why the team around you is super critical as well.
Yeah, it's very critical. And you just never know. Like, we watch this industry change so much. Like, you're not always going to be the hottest producer or the hottest artist. Like, things change. So you have to be prepared. Yeah. Because the sound is changing. The same people that were hot 10 years ago are not hot today. Like, so it's just like, what are you doing? And what do you own? What is yours?
Yeah. So how do you, so FBI agent, how do you get into the mind? How do you get into the mind of your producers, or your artists that you're managing or working with? Because, if I got the hottest song out right now, I'm going to assume that I'm going to continue having the hottest songs out for the next 5-10 years. What do you do? Because part of this game, I think, you tell me if I'm wrong, is psychological, and really making sure people understand, the longevity in this business. So how do you manage that?
I mean, sometimes you just have to let people learn the hard way. So it's like, you want to put that out? Okay. Good luck. Because after a while, you're like, this isn't my career. This is your career. I care about you. I want to be there. I'm trying to, direct you and lead you the right way. But they're still grown adults. So it's just like, what can you do? You can't do but so much. So sometimes you just have to let people learn the hard way. Like, sometimes you got to let people understand, like, the stove could be hot. So if you put this out and nobody cares, that's on you.
Yeah, for sure. Do you find that, just because there's so much knowledge around, right? Like, I just feel like, in the 90s, there wasn't this much knowledge for artists or producers to really understand the business of this industry. but now I just feel like things are just readily available. Do you find that the producers and artists that you're working with are just more knowledgeable in general, so they're not making as many bad decisions, or has nothing really changed? And again, you talked about the $25,000 chain. You see more of that versus some of the more of the better decisions that they could make.
It's both. I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the person, and I feel like it depends on what they really want. Some people want to change their lives forever. They don't get comfortable. They're like, look, like if this slows down, like this is just a start for them. Like this money, like we just get, like, oh my God, I just got this big check. That's amazing. Like you can use the music business to create longevity for your family. So some people look at it that way, and some people look at it like, I'm gonna keep getting it, so it don't matter. You know, we, you know, you make life-changing money in this business, but a lot of people try to be seen rather than being responsible.
No, I agree. I agree. Do you find, just everything that you've done, and I haven't even said this yet on the interview, but congratulations, because it really feels like you've done a lot at a really super young age. Do you find now that you have more mentors? Because you said you came into the game and didn't have any mentors. Do you have more mentors now that are schooling you, helping you get to that, continue to rise and get to those next levels?
Yes, they don't play with me. They do not play. And I mean, and it's necessary. Like it's so necessary, and I never forget anything they say to me. Like there's certain people I just call just to be around, and it just give me great energy. Like, and you can't be afraid to ask questions. And I used to be afraid at first because you don't want to sound like you don't know anything, but ask questions, ask as many as you want. And I used to get irritated when my clients ask me a whole bunch of questions like, look, I'm the manager, I got this. But I had to, take a step back, like they need to know. Because what if one day they want to be a manager or they don't need more, or whatever the case may be, they need to be what's really going on.
No, absolutely. That transfer of knowledge is important. And again, that's where we kind of get that gatekeeper mentality where I know more and I'm not necessarily going to share with you. So I think it's critical, for artists, for executives, for anyone, ask questions. I agree with you on that as well, Malita. Like ask the questions because you never know what you don't know until you actually know what it is. So I agree.
Exactly. And you can't help anybody else if you don't know.
Exactly. Pay it forward. So let me ask you something else. And I'm going all the way back to the beginning of the interview. We recently, last week, we debuted our new show on BlackStream Live called The Foundation, focusing on HBCUs. And you stated that you went to Clark Atlanta. What was the significance? Talk about going to an HBCU and how that helped you. I'm putting words in your mouth, but did it help you propel yourself to being where you are now, or just that sense of community and knowledge and giving back to others? Did going to an HBCU help you?
Yes, because coming from Baltimore, like I wasn't used to, people having like both of your parents and all these different dynamics of Black people. Like you just see one type of Black. And when I came to Atlanta and went to Clark Atlanta, because it's the AUC, so you have Spelman right there, you have Morehouse right there, and it's so unified. Like it's literally like shocking. And you learn so much. Like you learn all different types of people. Like it's literally an amazing experience. I really would suggest for everybody to go to HBCU. Like, and then my grandma told me she wasn't paying for me to go to any other school but HBCU, so I had to go.
That's why you went. Hold on. So I got a sponsor partner question. So with Windows and Intel, you have more ways to work your way so you can do whatever it is that you're inspired to do. And so Windows and Intel want to know, where does your inspiration come from?
My inspiration comes from family and just Black women. Like watching Black women prevail, like watching like all the women in my family just dominate and be so independent and so strong. And it's just amazing watching all these women just create all these businesses, and it's literally amazing to watch. Like even just watching our gymnast, watching the track star, I forgot her name.
What's my Shan?
It's not Shakira. It's something
No,
like
it's not
that.
Shatira, but I know who you're talking about
Yeah.
because she
But
killed
I
it
was just like
10.65
amazed.
seconds. Yep.
And her mom passed away the week prior,
Yeah.
you know? And just watching how strong we are, like we are so strong. And I don't think people understand like how strong we really are, like mentally, physically, emotionally. We carry so much but we also give so much. And I think that's just amazing. It just inspires me to keep going. Because I always say, like, this isn't about me. This is about somebody else. This is for somebody else. God put me here to help somebody else.
I agree, and I'm gonna hold on because I shouldn't even be. I feel like I'm hijacking you right now. But shout out to my mother and my grandmother because they raised me, and I agree with you. The strength of a black woman is unparalleled and undeniable, and I'm thankful for them. So thank you for that, Melita.
No problem.
And now of course, I want to ask everyone out there. Right, we heard from Melita. Now we want to hear from you. Where does your inspiration come from? Like, go to the poll right now, fill it in. I'm gonna look on the chat briefly, but just go to the polls and let us know what you think. Melita, before we go, I just want to ask one last question. What do you want to leave with everyone here? If there was one piece of advice, whether you're in the music industry or whether you still want to be an FBI agent, which again, I'm scared to meet you in person now for a variety of reasons. But what what do you want to leave us with? One piece of advice.
I would say, as cliche as it sounds, be yourself. As cliche as it sounds, be yourself. Don't try. Of course, you can grow, but don't try to change yourself for anyone because people need you. We want you. And a lot of people even get into this business to try to conform to thinking like, oh, I have to be super professional and I can't cuss and I can't. And it's just like, no, we cuss all the time. Like, no, we get angry too. No, like we're people. Like, be yourself. Like, and people will love you just for that.
Yeah.
People will welcome you just for that. You can get in rooms just for that.
Melita, I was supposed to end there, but you got me going. Like, do you find that a lot of people conform? No, for real. Like, do you find that a lot of people conform in the music industry, and why? Why do you think they do that? Is it to like? Why do you think they do that?
Because it's almost uh like high school. Like everybody wants to be the most popular, you know? So and it's like you have teachers, like all these different types of people, and it's just like, yo, like be yourself. But some people don't even know how to do that. And a lot of even artists, like they say, okay, well, this is working for Megan, this is working for Cardi, so I'm gonna do this too. And it's just like, no, but you also have a her, you also have a Flo Millie, you also have a Mulatto, like you also have city girls who are straight up like, what's up? Like you have different types of people, like, and we need different types of people because it's different representations of people that other people can relate to. So if you come in, and I used to be like, oh, I'm not gonna cuss, Oprah doesn't cuss. And I'm like, well, I'm not Oprah. So I'm gonna cuss.
So hold on.
So
All right.
I mean,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you're fine. No, I'm just saying, like, be yourself, whoever you are, because people relate to you, relate to whoever you are, however you are. So that's just to sum it up.
Got you. All right. So you said earlier on you're an R&B head, right?
Yep.
Me, your top three R&B songs, top five R&B songs of all time,
Right now,
if you can.
about
Oh, right?
no, I
No,
can't
of
do
all
that.
time.
I can't do. I
You
can't do
can't
it
do
all
it.
time.
All right, give me top five R&B right now.
Right now, her. I'm gonna give you the top R&B artists. I'll do that.
Okay.
For songs, I'll be here all day. Her, Giveon, Summer, Ella. Ooh, which number am I on? That Daniel Caesar.
That was
Oh, but Lucky Day. I can't. I can't do it.
okay. All right. Is there okay? So you can't give me your top five. Is there a song right now that you have on repeat? R&B song.
Yes. Well, it's not an R&B song, but it's like a Afrobeat song. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's Essence
Okay.
by Wizkid. You heard it?
Okay. Yeah, I've heard it. Of course I did. Yeah. Okay.
That's everybody.
Okay.
That's like everybody should be playing that song every day. Every day.
Every day.
And it
But I
came out in
got you.
October.
It came out last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
All right. Yeah, it came out last year. Wait, where you been?
Another
Working?
R&B, Good and Plenty. You're that one.
What's Good and Plenty?
Lucky Day.
All right. I got to listen to more
You gotta
Lucky
listen
Day.
to-
I don't listen to enough Lucky Day. I don't listen to enough. I know I don't.
You listen to her?
Giveon and her. Yeah, I was about to say I'm more Giveon and her. And we actually, we work with her. We have a festival with her. So, it's like mandatory for me to listen to her because I think she's phenomenal regardless. So I'm super excited. So that's dope. Yes. What? Yes.
Okay. I got a song on there.
So hold on. What'd you say?
I got a song on her new album.
Wait, so what song do you have on a new album? This is exclusive. We're getting on BlackStream Live. Go ahead.
The Little Baby record.
That's your song?
Find a Way. Mm-hmm.
Really? Oh shit.
It's
Malita,
Chichi and
together.
the producer James Maddox.
That's all that. So yeah, we need to work outside of this. I'm glad that. Yeah, shout out. You said shout out to Walter?
Yes.
I can't. Yes. All right, cool. So tell us what else. All right, you have Find Your Way on her. Tell us what else you have coming out next, if you can.
Coming out next, I don't know if I can say, I was about to say, I don't think I can say it, but right now, the most recent, we have Megan Thee Stallion, Thought Shit, Wale featuring Chris Brown, Angles. We have Young Blue featuring Chris Brown and 2 Chainz, The Baddest One. We have Parker's single, Rain Down, Mulatto, Chris Brown, PNB Rock, and Leighton Green. We have a lot out there, honestly.
You absolutely do. You absolutely do. All right. All right. Well, good to know. Well, Malita, this has been an amazing interview. I hope, I'm in the chat right now. I hope everyone is learning and really getting, just how strong and how powerful you are and what you've done and accomplished in the music industry and how much more you have to go. This is the CEO and founder of Mogul Mentality and the Vice President of A&R for Warner Brothers Records. Malita Rice, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Take care. Well, that was a really insightful, really amazing episode of Meet the Execs. I hope everyone learned today. I want, again, a special thanks for Windows and Intel Evo, working together, creating devices that are made to inspire, powering Meet the Execs this week and every week. We're going to be back next Friday, same time, with another exciting guest. Make sure you subscribe and follow BlackStream Live. I'm your host, Brandon Pankey. Incredible episode. We'll be back next week. Everyone have a good weekend. Take care.